A note. In the previous Five Nights episode where I created the FNAF animatronics from the first game, people were saying, he forgot Golden Freddy, and why didn't you make Golden Freddy? And to that I must say, I did not forget Golden Freddy, as Golden Freddy was actually not even considered for the episode. Not only did I have a longer episode on my hands already, with the main four, but no one even requested Golden Freddy. My requesting system is based on what the people ask for, and what ends up being the most popular. So here is your Golden Freddy, but please pay attention to the comments section because I left a note about it as a top comment on that video and also looked at the annotations as I also made a note about it there. Anyway, simple. Here's the Golden Freddy. Now let's move on to the others. Oh, God! Hello again, YouTube! It's Dr.Kendo, and I'm here again with Scribblenauts Unlimited to do some more Five Nights at Freddy's action because we need to create the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 animatronics. This is a continuation from the hugely popular Five Nights at Freddy's animatronics from the first game that I created back, I guess it was 2 weeks ago at this point, or maybe even 3. I can't even keep track of life and time right now. I'm just ballistic, and I'm really busy because Smash Bros. Wii U has come out and everything, and we're just doing a lot of stuff. So anyway, you will need to go back and have seen that first episode to learn how to create the ones that we are doing today. We're gonna do all of them, so let's start off with Toy Freddy. So obviously you just need to copy the Freddy Fazbear that we made from the first episode. Again, you must go back and see that. I will annotate to it several times, I guess, throughout here. Make a glue, so just type in glue, and actually you saw that we removed a bunch of the pieces of the eye. We also need to move his snout piece over to the side because otherwise it'll be really hard to grab and edit the stamps that you want to edit. Of course, a big part of the toy characters now in the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 game is that a lot of them have cheeks, little rosy cheeks, so make sure that your Freddy also has a dot right there, painted red. That would be for the cheek right there. We did it just beneath and behind the snout right there. For Toy Freddy, of course, he's got the black eyes, and there's a little bit of a light glint, so I did 2 dots that are white in there in his eyes for the glint of light. I don't like his head actually being tilted sideways, so we're gonna do it right side up like this. He's got the microphone in hand. It's all good. We'll name him Toy Freddy. But I was looking at an image of him where his head was, you know, kind of leaning to the side. So if you want it to be like that, go ahead and do it how I had it originally. But I think it's gonna look a little bit better like this. And there is a little bit differentiation in the snout and behind the eyes coloring and whatnot. So please note that we did color that a different shade of brown. So let's move on now. We're gonna try to do this quickly because there are tons of animatronics that we need to get to. This is gonna be Toy Bonnie. We're of course copying the Bonnie from the first episode. Now I'm very concerned about this, and I'm gonna need to get maybe slightly creative here, and by that I mean another word for that would be I'm gonna need to be resourceful because you could see that we're already out of stamp space. I knew that this was gonna be a problem because the stamp space on the original one was a problem. You know, I didn't have enough stamp pieces to create the characters that I wanted to fully create the characters, basically, is what I'm trying to say from the last episode. So I know that this one, you know, we are trying to pack our resources and stretch them thin. Of course, we've replaced the behind the eyes part with eggs, and we've actually used spheres now for his eyes instead of just dots. The spheres are gonna be a lot better just for the big, roundish eyes that they have in this version, I guess, for the toy version. Of course, a main difference is that Bonnie is colored blue now, so you will notice, of course, that he is now no longer that purple shade, but we colored him blue. We removed the sticky hands. You know, that might just need to be the way that it's gonna be. I like the sticky hands being on there. It's just we have to pick and choose. I also removed the little 29-page library generic shape, the arm shape, up on the top of his ears. Bonnie used to have 2 up there at the top part of the ears too, where they bend. You know, and there's probably a better way to do those ears, so we'll investigate that in a second. I'm just sort of picking and choosing. You know, are we gonna give him eyelashes? Because of course Bonnie also has these pretty little eyelashes to make him all cutesy. Does that sound weird? Yeah, that sounds really weird. So I put in basically this generic, the same shape that we used for the snout, and the ear pieces I have also used for his eyebrows. So let's see, I think that this is actually going to work out better. I typed in bunny ears and used that as the ears. They will have a little headband piece, so you want to make sure and put it behind the whole head, you know, move it back to the back. And I think that that's going to work out fine. I know that his ears are bent forward, but that's, you know, again, to get the most stamp space and to fit the most pieces on and stuff like that, I think that that's probably the best options that we could do, removing and adding things. But we're moving quickly, so let's move on to Toy Toy Chica. Toy Chica, of course, is, I'm gonna do it without the beak. There is a version that does have the beak in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, but this version I'm going to do the kind of scarier looking one, I would say, because it doesn't have the beak. We're using the arm pieces of the golem for the shoulders, but then using the mecha, which is also the source object, we're using the mecha's lower pieces of his arms. So for kind of the hands and things like that, we're gonna have the mecha. You can use the golem legs as well. The leg pieces, it's the upper thigh, I guess, the thigh pieces of the golem, and basically double that for the legs right here for our Chica. We're gonna put on some feet a little bit later. We're using that same golem shoulder piece that we have as our Toy Chica's shoulders right now and color those black for the eyes. And so we're using the general 29-page library arm piece. This is something that you get, again, from that generic library. If you click on the stamp icon, you can kind of see that arm-leg connector piece. That's where you get that from. I've discussed this in many different episodes, so hopefully if you're a regular to my series, you know where to find that. I should really do some kind of like best practices episode where I show you like tips and tricks of the object editor and things like that, best practices. These are dragon feet right here. I'm not sure if we're going to keep those. I'm just having them as a placeholder at the moment. We've got a bib. I can't put on Let's Party. You know, it normally says Let's Party, but that would take like 10 stamps to get all of that, and we don't have the room, you know, we don't have enough stamp space. Again, we're stretching them thin with all of these characters, you know, the stamp space is quite limited in Scribblenauts Unlimited. You would think with a name like Scribblenauts Unlimited, we could have tons of stamp space, but we don't. So here, we'll go back to the 29-page library, and there might actually be a better shape that we can use for the feet, because I'm looking at this kind of orc-looking character, and we'll just take his foot right there. Chica does have these kind of dinosaurish-looking bird feet or whatever, you know, it is a robot animatronic creature, I guess, so we'll go ahead with that. You know, those feet do look menacing and everything like that, but I think it fits. I think it fits the theme of Toy Chica. The mouth, we used a yarmulke, you know, the little Jewish hats. We've used sphere, of course, for the little cheeks, the pink cheeks, and then a half sphere or hemisphere. If you're playing in Scribblenauts Unmasked, please type hemisphere to achieve that for the rosy cheek that's on the right, or it would be the character's left and our right. So this one's going to be interesting. We'll go a little bit slower for this. This is going to be for Mangle, of course, that's like the remade Foxy or whatever. We're taking this helix shape. That's what you would type in if you're on Scribblenauts Unmasked. It's called helix. It looks like a spring. In Scribblenauts Unlimited, there's a whole library of geometric shapes that you can pull it from, so we'll do that. Now, if you notice what I'm doing with, I typed in eye, I made it big and then tiny and big and then tiny. That's a basically a product of the object editor. Another kind of best practice tip that you can use is if, you know, we started off with a pole as the source object, so we can't put things on it too far away from the original source. So you resize it to a bigger size, and then it can go further, you know, you can move it further, then shrink it back down to the size you want. It's sort of a delicate process. I did it a lot with my GLaDOS. So if you've seen the Portal GLaDOS commentary of Scribblenauts that I did, where I created GLaDOS, you can see kind of how that is made there. We'll use a shark fin. You know, I just typed in shark and grabbed the fin from it. We'll use that for the kind of, I guess you would call it hair, you know, the tufts of hair that are coming out from the Foxy type head. Of course, because Mangle is just a big mess of an animatronic. All the kids supposedly have messed with it, and were quite rough with Mangle, and so it's all just broken up and scary looking. It's funny because some people were telling me in the comments on the first Scribblenauts where we created the first game's characters, they were saying, dude, Five Nights at Freddy's isn't scary, you should totally play it. And maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but I'm not like scared where I would have nightmares and things like that. I'm not too scared to play it or anything. I just really don't have enough time in my life. I really don't. Unless I'm gonna put something on YouTube, I can't really play video games that much unless they're gonna be, again, on YouTube, because I just don't have any time. So we're using that same shoulder piece that we used for Chica's eyes from the golem. It's the golem's shoulder. That's gonna be a little lipstick piece. Apparently the kids have drawn lipstick and whatnot on the Mangle as well, on the Foxy head part. The head has actually kind of come detached from the endoskeleton's head, or is it exo? No, it's endoskeleton, right? So the endoskeleton one is that mouth that's up there. If you just type in teeth, that's how you get that. And it's got an electronic kind of for the basic head piece right there. But I do like how that Mangle turned out. I think it does have kind of a leg hanging off right there. Just like the GLaDOS, I made sure that Mangle doesn't really have gravity applied to it, so you can check a box that says apply gravity or not. So I unchecked that. Now we're moving on to, quote-unquote, the puppet. The puppet here, you have to, I guess, wind the musical box, right? In Five Nights at Freddy's 2, otherwise he will come after you. So So the puppet has these striped arms. We won't exactly get that, you know, we won't get that exactly precisely how it looks, but we can get close with this zebra print. So what I have basically is the capsule shape. It's like a little line shape that's in the geometry library. Just use the capsule shape, make that the neck, the beginning piece of the arms, and the thigh parts or the legs, you know, the upper leg part. Of course, if you didn't see, we started off with a mecha once again as the source object. Make sure you're typing mecha with an A at the end, not just mech. Those are two very different objects. And we've used a hemisphere for the chin piece of the puppet mask, you know, that's up on the head. We've also used that same hemisphere or half sphere for his mouth, so, you know, you just color that black. We've taken the rhombus parallelogram type shape and put that as kind of the makeup that's on the mask right there. Those eyes are actually a little piece of a fish. If you just type in fish and grab the fin from the fish, that's what I used for those eye pieces. Just color them all black. So you can see there with the other capsule shapes, we just resized them a little bit. The lower, you know, parts of his legs, that is that zebra print for the white and black stripes. They're supposed to go horizontal rather than vertical. You know, right now we see them going up and down. They're supposed to be side to side, but unfortunately we can't get a pattern that's going to do that for us. So then if you also just type in button and use the button that goes on clothes, you know, it'll give you two different categories of buttons. Use that and create 3 of them for the little buttons right there on the puppet. Of course, in Five Nights at Freddy's 2, the old and aging animatronics are joined by a new cast of characters, so the puppet is one of them. They are supposedly more kid-friendly, being toy versions and things like that, updated with the latest in facial recognition technology, tied into local criminal databases, and, as the game says, they promise to put on a safe and entertaining show for kids and grown-ups alike. What could possibly go wrong? There was our puppet. We used Death as the other hands. I don't know if I mentioned that or not. But here we are. I just named this BB, you know, it's Balloon Boy. Our little Balloon Boy is basically starting off with Aiden Sagawa. That's the source object, so it is different than the other ones. Use a hemisphere for the pants right there, but then use the golem's shoulders once again for the legs, and just type in shoe for the little shoes that he's got and move those to the back, you know, move them behind the legs. I used a balloon, you know, stamp space again is limited, so we can't make the string for the balloon, but if you just type in balloon right there, you can put the balloon kind of on his arm like that. Capsules are the actual arms right there, as well as the shoulder of the golem once again for this character's shoulders. That's how you spell Aiden Sagawa right there, so if you are wondering, or Segawa, I don't know where the pronunciations should fall on that, but he's just sort of a short, chubby kid, you know, and that's what I wanted. You want to make the body for Balloon Boy really big and fat, basically, so size the body up, but don't size everything else up, you know, so just grab the body and size it, and other than that, we used a head. If you just type in head and turn it around kind of upside downish, that's how that is. And a propeller hat. So if you just type in propeller hat, you can get the hat that we used for our Balloon Boy. But if you didn't see the last episode, again, you're going to be kind of lost. So here, I'll annotate to it right here. But you can see we've got all of the animatronics right there. And yes, Foxy is supposed to be the tallest or whatever like that. You know, you can download it and make it however you want. It sinks into the ground. One thing is, if you're creating things, especially with the mecha as the source object, often when you remove the legs, they're gonna sink into the ground like that. And so let's put our Mangle in here to end it all off. Man, I made that Mangle kind of huge. Hopefully that is somewhat to scale at least, but again, I'm not too concerned with that. But you can see the happy little animatronic family. We got Toy Freddy, Balloon Boy, Toy Bonnie, Golden Freddy, the puppet, Toy Chica, and Mangle to end it all off up there at the top. This is crazy. They do look quite freaky. Do the scripting, of course, as you please. You know, I didn't want to get too far into scripting because this episode would honestly go on for just way too long, and, you know, you guys would be sitting here listening to mundane stuff over the scripting. If I forgot something, I don't care, because I didn't forget it because I ran out of stamp space. Again, I couldn't include anything else. We were very pressed for stamp space right here, so I didn't forget anything. Everything that you see, I wanted to have. This is what I wanted, you know, this is how I wanted it, exactly how I would make it. Please feel free to use this video to inspire your own Five Nights at Freddy's 2 creations. I know you guys can do it. So I love you all. Thank you so much for your support. The last Freddy's episode did huge. I mean, it's hugely popular, so thank you so much if you're a newcomer to the series. As far as requesting objects for the next week's episode, these upload on every Sunday. The last Sunday of the week is random pick, so I will be randomly selecting 1 or 2 items, maybe more, from the list of requests that are only on on this episode for this week. So basically, the way that my requesting system works is usually it's a top comment voting system where basically the most popular request or popular vote is the one that gets created for that week. But I do create any gaming characters or movie-related characters, or I'll do things from nerd and geek culture. Anyway, I appreciate you guys' attention, and I will catch you on the next vid. And thanks for... Oh my God! They're like a spectacle, so you can be the viewer and...
down the road of twists and turns, always anxious to see what's within. We can look ahead to the point of no return, to the rest of our lives as the spectacle begins. I've been down the road of twists and turns, always anxious to see what's within. We can look ahead to the point of no return, to the rest of our lives as the spectacle